Fighting erupted in Tigray today. Several sources are confirming about this clash. Where did it happen? Who started? Who fired the first shot? Secondly, videos are coming out from the Amhara region showing hundreds of militia members who have reportedly surrendered, government backed militia members. And lastly, European Union issued a statement today about Pretoria deal. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching the channel. Good to be with you. Let's start with the news story about EU. EU countries issued a joint statement today. EU countries which have their diplomatic missions in Ethiopia, they issued a joint statement today about Pretoria deal. It was on the 2nd of November 2022. 3 years ago, that Pretoria was signed to silence the guns in northern Ethiopia after a 2-year-long war between Tigray forces and the Ethiopian Federal Forces. EU reminded everyone that through the statement today, EU reminded that the Pretoria silenced guns in 2022, and we know that was a joint effort, mainly led by Americans. EU was on board, too. AU was on board, African Union, and guns were silenced. A ceasefire was implemented. EU in today's statement mentioned three important points. It's calling for implementation of Pretoria deal. Both parties to Pretoria are accusing each other of violating Pretoria. TPLF and federal government in recent months issued statements accusing each other. EU says that the issue of safe return of IDPs must be handled. Political dialogue should start. Justice should be delivered so that the families of victims of human rights abuses get the justice. Thirdly, EU is calling for broad political dialogue before the start of election in Ethiopia, due to be held next year. And lastly, EU is calling for national dialogue and engagements to solve other ongoing conflicts in Ethiopia. EU statement is basically insignificant. I mean, when the two parties which are signatories to Pretoria are not implementing Pretoria, what can EU do? The EU says it's ready to help implement Pretoria, but EU will have to play a proactive role. It will have to engage the parties to the conflict. Otherwise, Pretoria is nowhere to be seen. No major clauses mentioned in Pretoria are being implemented. Rather, the country, the region is on the verge of a new war. Just issuance of statements won't solve the challenges, I think. It won't solve the issues. Secondly, we have a video clip for you from the Amhara region where militia members are surrendering. We have this clip for you. Then we'll talk about the situation in Tigray. The video released from Amhara region shows hundreds of militia members who have surrendered. Reportedly, they surrendered in South Gondar zone of the Amhara region. Militias cannot fight Fano. I've been saying that for the last 2 years, that militias cannot fight Fano. No matter how trained, how armed they are, they're not as organized and as motivated as Fano fighters are. They are fighting only because government is paying them. And regional security structure, whether militias or anti-right and strike force units is not in a position to counter Fano. ENDF is basically fighting Fano, though ENDF is backing, training, arming regional forces. Regional forces lack the capacity to fight Fano. That is why Fano fighters know very well that the day ENDF withdraws, which won't happen by the way, it will sweep across the Amhara region. And in recent attacks, we saw that Fano fighters targeted militia offices, militia headquarters, militia training centers. Fano fighters don't want any strong regional security structure. They know that ENDF one day will have to withdraw from Amhara. If it does not withdraw, it means ENDF won't be able to start new adventures on borders with other countries. Watch a clip released by Fano fighters showing militia members of surrendered in South Gondar. South Gondar is again turning into a nightmare for the Ethiopian National Defense Force. Watch the clip, then we will tell you what happened in Tigray, where fighting erupted today. Watch the clip. Well, today in Tigray, fighting erupted in southern Tigray. Several sources are confirming that, that in Afar region, which shares border with southern Tigray, Tigray Peace Force is operating. TPF is a group of fighters who are opposed to TPLF and Tigray military commanders. They want change in Tigray. They want TPLF to be sidelined. They want military to be neutral. They want youths to be the main decision makers in Tigray. They want free, fair, transparent election. They want inclusive government in Tigray. TPLF and Tigray military called TPF traitors. They say TPF are traitors and they are backed by the federal government of Ethiopia. TPF fighters were not based in southern Tigray. They were based in the Afar region. But the fighting which erupted today happened in southern Tigray. It means that TPF fighters entered southern Tigray. They've been trying to enter southern Tigray, by the way. But whenever they try to enter southern Tigray, military used to launch counterattacks and TPF had to withdraw. We saw that it happened. It seemed they managed to enter southern Tigray. The fighting, which erupted today, happened between Raya Ezebo and Wajirat. Raya Ezebo is on Tigray-Eritrea border. Tigray-Afar border, not Eritrea border. Wajirat is at a distance from the border. Where the fighting is happening, this place is between these two places, Razebo and Wajirat, showing that TPF fighters have entered southern Tigray. Who initiated this attack? Which side suffered losses? Difficult to say because so far no official statements have been released. Locals are only confirming that fighting is ongoing. There are casualties reportedly. People have been injured too. But we'll have to wait to see the outcome of this clash. This is the first attack or the first incident of fighting between TPF and Tigray military in the last 1 month or so. There's been relative calm. They fought on more than one occasions in the past few months. But for a month, there has been calm in southern Tigray and on southern Tigray far border. Let's see. Hopefully, details will come out in coming hours. Thanks for watching.